A hug, a simple and seemingly mundane act, is one of the most profound gestures of connection that human beings can offer one another, yet its significance, its depth, and its implications often go unnoticed, even overlooked in the hustle of daily life. But if a man gives you a hug, there is something worth understanding, something meaningful beneath the surface that warrants careful reflection. To assume otherwise is to miss the subtle language of human interaction, a language that reveals much about the giver, the receiver, and the space that exists between them. When a man gives a hug, it's not merely a physical act. It is a revelation. It is an unspoken statement, one that is layered with context, intention, and emotion. You must begin by considering the nature of the relationship itself. Is this a close friend, a partner, a family member, or someone you've just recently encountered? Each context frames the gesture differently, and while the action may look identical from the outside, its meaning shifts depending on the relational foundation upon which it is built. The human body, particularly in moments of intimacy like a hug, communicates truths that words often fail to capture. A man who extends his arms in an embrace is offering something of himself, a sense of warmth, reassurance, or perhaps even vulnerability. And vulnerability in itself is a significant act. To allow oneself to be vulnerable is to risk being seen fully, without pretense or defense. For many men, shaped by societal expectations to remain stoic or emotionally reserved, this act carries even greater weight. It's an offering of trust, a gesture that says, "Here I am, take from this what you will, but know that I give it willingly." However, not every hug carries the same level of depth. The world of human interaction is rife with nuance, and not every gesture is imbued with profound meaning. Yet even the simplest acts are not devoid of significance. A casual hug, for instance, may signal camaraderie or a sense of belonging. It is an acknowledgement of your presence, a marker of shared humanity. But if the hug lingers, if there is a pause that stretches beyond the ordinary, you must ask yourself why. What is being communicated in the space of that extended moment? Is it affection? Is it sorrow? Is it something deeper that words cannot encapsulate? Men, like all human beings, are not monolithic in their behaviors. Some men are naturally more tactile, expressing their emotions and connections through physical touch. For others, a hug might be a rare event, reserved for only the most significant occasions or people. This distinction matters because it shapes the interpretive lens through which the gesture must be viewed. To understand what a hug from a man means, you must understand the man himself. Our technology of love, to redefine what a hug from a man means, you must understand the man himself. What is his emotional vocabulary? What are the norms and values he holds regarding touch and expression? Without these insights, assumptions risk misinterpretation. Moreover, the act of a hug is not isolated from the broader cultural and societal frameworks within which it occurs. In some cultures, physical affection is abundant and expected, a natural part of human connection. In others, it is rare and carries connotations of intimacy that extend beyond the physical. A man raised in a culture where hugs are commonplace may not consider them significant, while another raised in a more reserved environment may view the act as monumental. Context matters, as does the willingness to understand that the meaning of a gesture is often rooted in the personal and cultural narratives of the one who offers it. Now consider the emotional state of the man giving the hug. Is he offering comfort? If so, what does he perceive in you that requires solace? A comforting hug is not a mere formality. It is an acknowledgement of your pain or distress. It is an unspoken statement. I see you, and I care enough to share in this moment with you. But comfort can also flow in the opposite direction. A man might hug you not because you need it, but because he does. And so if there is a purpose for hugging, it becomes the greatest possible contribution. Perhaps he is seeking reassurance, a grounding presence in a world that feels overwhelming or uncertain. In such moments, the act of giving is simultaneously an act of asking, a silent plea for connection amidst isolation. Romantic contexts, too, complicate the interpretation of a hug. Physical touch is often laden with the weight of desire, affection, or burgeoning attachment. When a man hugs you in such a context, it is not merely a gesture, it is a declaration. The nature of that declaration depends on the specifics of the relationship. Is he tentative, unsure of how his gesture will be received? Or is he confident, his embrace firm and unyielding? These subtleties speak volumes about the dynamics at play, about the unspoken negotiations of closeness and boundaries that occur within every human interaction. But even in romantic contexts, not every hug is rooted in desire. Sometimes a hug is simply about presence, a way of saying, I'm here and I want you to know that. This kind of hug transcends the physical. It is a bridge, a momentary suspension of the barriers that separate two people. It is in many ways an expression of the divine, an acknowledgement of the sacredness of connection in a world that often feels fractured and distant. There is also an inherent risk in any hug, particularly for men. In a society that often misinterprets male intentions or scrutinizes their every move, offering a hug can feel like stepping into uncertain territory. What if the gesture is misunderstood? What if it is rejected? These questions linger in the background, shaping the way a man approaches physical expressions of care. Yet, when a man chooses to hug, despite these risks, it is a testament to his willingness to engage in genuine connection, even in the face of potential discomfort. It's important, too, to consider what happens after the hug. Does he linger in the moment, his hands resting gently on your shoulders as if to ensure the connection remains intact? Or does he step back quickly, as though retreating from a vulnerability he is unaccustomed to showing? These postures reveal much about the emotional weight of the gesture, about the layers of meaning that cannot be fully unpacked in words, but are instead felt in the lingering echoes of touch. At its core, a hug is about more than physical closeness. It is an act of recognition and acknowledgement of shared humanity. When a man gives you a hug, you can assume that, at least in that moment, he sees you not just as an individual, but as someone worthy of connection, care, and presence. That recognition, however fleeting, is a powerful reminder of what it means to be human, to long for connection, to offer and receive comfort, and to navigate the complex, beautiful web of relationships that define our existence. To understand a hug, you must approach it with curiosity and attentiveness. What does this gesture reveal about the man who offers it? What does it say about the dynamics between you? And what does it teach you about the universal need for connection that binds us all? These questions are not easily answered, nor should they be. For the beauty of a hug lies in its mystery, in the unspoken truths it carries, and in the way it invites us to ponder the depth of human connection, one embrace at a time. A hug often transcends the act itself. It reaches into the fabric of our shared experiences and vulnerabilities. It is not just about the touch. It's about the moment, the shared emotion, and the mutual acknowledgement of existence. Happiness is not a feeling, but an effort that gives meaning, direction, and liberation. It gives the hobby a purpose, and it exists. When a man gives you a hug, it is a bridge between two lives, even if only for a fleeting moment. This bridge carries unspoken dialogues, a flow of energy that communicates without words, and this energy tells a story about what it means to be connected in a world that often feels isolated. Think of the subtle dynamics of a hug, the pressure, the duration, and even the posture. Each element offers a narrative. A tight embrace might convey urgency or intensity, as though the man is holding on to you, not wanting the connection to slip away. A light, fleeting hug might suggest hesitance or a sense of formality. The way he holds his arms, the placement of his hands, and the way he steps into the gesture all contribute to the unspoken language of connection. These details, often overlooked, are where the depth of human interaction resides. For a man, offering a hug can sometimes be an act of defiance, not against another person, but against his own fears, insecurities, or the internalized norms that have shaped him. Many men are taught to suppress physical affection, to shield themselves behind walls of stoicism. Yet the decision to hug is, in itself, a breaking of those barriers. It is an invitation to intimacy, however brief, and it reflects an openness that is both courageous and profound. When he chooses to embrace, he chooses to step into a space of vulnerability, risking rejection or misinterpretation in favor of connection. And let's consider the receiver of the hug. When you are hugged, you are placed in a position of power, even if momentarily. You hold the capacity to accept or reject the gesture, to reciprocate or to withdraw. How you respond shapes the interaction, sometimes more than the hug itself. If you lean into it, wrapping your arms around him in return, you create a mutual acknowledgement, a shared moment that reinforces the bond between you. If you hesitate or stiffen, you send a different signal, one that speaks to boundaries, uncertainty, or discomfort. This interplay of action and reaction is what gives a hug its layered complexity. A hug also has the power to bypass the intellectual and tap directly into the emotional. Words can be carefully crafted, calculated to achieve a specific response, but touch is immediate, primal, and unfiltered. When a man hugs you, he is communicating from a place beyond language. He is saying something that words cannot capture, a sentiment that exists in the realm of feeling, not thought. And this is where the true power of a hug lies, in its ability to connect us to one another on a level that is both instinctual and deeply human. There is also the element of memory. A hug has the potential to leave an imprint not just on the body, but on the soul. Think about the hugs you remember, those moments of embrace that have stayed with you over the years. Perhaps it was a hug that comforted you in a time of grief, or one that celebrated a shared triumph. These moments linger because they resonate with something fundamental within us, a longing for connection that transcends time and space. When a man hugs you, he may not be aware of the significance of the moment, but its impact can ripple outward, shaping the way you see him and perhaps the way you see yourself. Now delve into the realm of intention. What motivates a man to give a hug? Is it purely spontaneous, a response to the moment? Or is it deliberate, a calculated decision to express something specific? The answer often lies in the context. In moments of joy, a hug can be an instinctive reaction, a way of sharing the overflow of positive emotion. In moments of sorrow, it can be an intentional gesture of support, a way of saying, you don't have to face this alone. Understanding the intention behind the act is key to grasping its full meaning. But intention is not always straightforward. Human beings are complex, and our motivations are often layered and multifaceted. A man may hug you because he wants to comfort you, but he may also be seeking comfort himself. He may hug you as an expression of gratitude, or he may do so out of a sense of obligation, feeling that it is the right thing to do in a given situation. These layers of intention add to the richness of the act, reminding us that even the simplest gestures can carry profound depth. The question of trust is another critical element. When a man hugs you, he is, in a sense, asking for your trust. He is inviting you into a space of closeness, a space where the boundaries between self and other become blurred. To accept the hug is to accept that invitation, to step into that shared space and meet him in it. But trust is a fragile thing, easily broken and not easily repaired. If the hug is perceived as insincere or unwelcome, it can create distance rather than closeness, reinforcing barriers instead of breaking them down. There is also a spiritual dimension to a hug, one that often goes unspoken but is deeply felt. In the act of embracing, there is a sense of unity, a momentary dissolving of the boundaries that separate us. It is as though, for that brief instant, you and the other person become one, connected by a shared humanity that transcends the individual. This spiritual connection is what makes a hug so powerful. It is a reminder of the divine spark within each of us, a reflection of the interconnectedness that underpins all of existence. In some ways, a hug is a microcosm of the human experience. It is a moment of connection, framed by the complexities of intention, context, and emotion. It is an act that requires courage, vulnerability, and trust, and it has the power to create memories that last a lifetime. When a man gives you a hug, he is offering you a glimpse into his world, a world shaped by his experiences, his values, and his understanding of what it means to connect. And in that glimpse, there is a profound opportunity to see not only him, but also yourself reflected in the shared moment of connection. So if a man gives you a hug, you can assume that there is meaning in it, even if that meaning is not immediately clear. You can assume that he is reaching out, offering a piece of himself in a gesture that is both simple and profound. And you can assume that in that moment, you are not alone, that at least for a fleeting instant, you are part of something greater, something that speaks to the very essence of what it means to be human. In the end, a hug is never just a hug. It's a profound expression of connection, carrying layers of meaning that extend beyond the physical act. When a man gives you a hug, he's communicating something about himself, his emotions, and his intentions. Whether it's a gesture of comfort, affection, or a simple acknowledgement of shared humanity, it's an offering of vulnerability, trust, and sometimes even courage, especially in a world that often discourages men from expressing their feelings openly. A hug transcends words. It speaks directly to the heart, creating a moment of unity that reflects the deep, universal need for connection. It is in these brief, unspoken moments that we're reminded of the divine spark within each of us, the essence that binds us together as human beings. So the next time a man hugs you, pause for a moment. Recognize the significance of that embrace, however fleeting it may seem. In that moment, you are witnessing an unspoken dialogue, a gesture that reflects not just his humanity, but yours as well. A hug is never just an action. It is a bridge, a reminder of the beauty and complexity of connection in a world that desperately needs it.